Let's talk about a big issue in woodworking. And a lot of people and a lot of woodworkers hate it, and that's sanding. We hate sanding. It's just tedious work. But I'm going to try to give you 5 tips today to help you maybe speed up a little bit so you're not working the lumber as much as you don't have to. Sometimes maybe you're over sanding. And sometimes you're leaving swirl marks, and sometimes you're leaving the board uneven. So I'm going to give you 5 tips today to help you stop that. And if you'll stick around to the end, you might just get a couple of extra tips. So here's my top 5 on sanding to help you do a better job at sanding and eliminate those swirl marks. All right. Tip number one, start your sander before you turn it on, put it on the wood, then start your sander. Don't start it up here and go down because you could create a divot or anything else. So you want to be on your wood before you hit the on button. Then turn it off on the wood. You don't want to pick it up and scuff like that. So that's tip number 1. Start your sander flat before you turn it on. Tip number 2. Let the weight of the sander do most of the work. You don't need to dig into it. Ooh, look at that, we dancing again. You don't need to dig into it. All you need to do is let the sander weight do most of the work. Light pressure is okay, but you don't want to be on top of it and digging in it. You want to keep your lumber as nice as you can, and you're trying to create a smooth surface. If you're tilting or digging, you're going to create these waves in your lumber, and when you stain it and you put a high gloss finish on it, a lot of times you can see that. So you don't want to see those swirl marks. So that was tip number 2. Tip number 3, to help you stay even when you sand, use this baby right here, a pencil. I'm sure you've all heard about it. You just make a light mark back and forth across your board, which I've already got a mark on here. Make a light mark across your board, and as that pencil mark goes away, you keep going until it's all gone. Then you've pretty much kept your board as smooth and as level as you can to avoid those waves and swirl marks. All right, that's tip number 3. Tip number 4, vacuum, dust extractor. Sound like something off Star Trek, no? Dust extractor. That will help several things. If you've got a vacuum you can hook up to your sander, it's going to keep a lot of that dust, that sanded dust, off of your board, so you don't have to work it as hard to sand it. It's also going to help keep your sander cooler, and it's also going to keep it off of your sand pad a lot, okay? Which makes it easier to let the grit do its work. I'm gonna tell you something real quick right here. These Craftsman's right here, I love my Craftsman tools. These Craftsman, and yes, there's better tools out there, but Craftsman's pretty daggone good, to be honest with you. If you'll look at this sander right here, it's almost exact of what the DeWalt is. I was looking at them at Lowe's the other day going, man, that's almost pretty close. The only difference is the Craftsman doesn't have a variable speed on it, or the one I have doesn't. All right, that's tip number 4. Tip number 5, progress through your sandpaper grit. Most projects around here, I'll start with 80, work to 100, then go to 220, and a lot of times I can stop at 220 if I'll follow those first 4 steps that I showed you. If I need to, I'll jump up to 400, sometimes even 800 grit, depending on how smooth and silky I want the top of that wood. All right, let's go back through those 5 tips real quick. All right, tip number 1 was start your sander flat before you turn it on. All right, turn it off before you lift it up. To me, and that's my opinion, it works best because you don't dig. All right, tip number 2 was let the sander weight be most of the force that is applied to the wood. Slight pressure is okay, but don't dig. All right, tip number 3 was the pencil mark so we don't get the waves. Once you get all the pencil mark off the board, then you can most likely be assured that it's pretty level and even all the way across the board. All right, tip number 4 was the vacuum cleaner because it keeps dust out of your sander, out of the air in your lungs too, and off the board to make it easier to work. And tip number 5 was sandpaper grip progression. Start low, work high. Now, like I said, I go 80, 100, and 220 most of the time. That's good as I need to go. Unless I'm really trying to do something, then I'll jump 400 to 800 depending on what I really am trying to do. Hey, look, y'all stuck around this long, so how about doing me a favor and give me that thumbs up? All right, and that like button would really make a big deal to us. So that thumbs up, I really appreciate it because I'm going to try to do more of these tip videos for you. I really want to help the DIY woodworkers out there. You've stuck around, and I told you I would give you another tip, and that tip is to work and sand with the grain as much as possible. Always go with the grain and not against the grain. That's going to help you keep it smooth. It's not going to raise the grain as you're digging against it, and it's going to help you keep smoother, and it's easier to sand. It's going to speed it up a little bit for you. So that's pretty much it, but I'm going to throw an extra 7 tips in here today for y'all for sticking around. And I'm telling you, if you'll stick around like that, you'll get more tips. Is to get these things, and I'm stepping away, and I'm coming back, baby. Cookies. I call them cookies. Because when you're sanding, and they work for everything, this thing could be sliding all over the place. These things are cheap. They're like 12 bucks at Rocky. Put your cookies down. And I use them for all kinds of stuff, man. Now you watch that right there. Now, my table's shaking, but this ain't shaking. It's raised it up, and it's giving me something where it's not gonna slide off of the table on me. Just so you can see my marks. You see those marks on there? You probably can't, but they're on there. All right, I'm back. I didn't get all the pencil marks off of it because I can do that off camera. But that's pretty much it. You saw me keep it flat when I started it. You saw me trying to eliminate my pencil marks. You saw me hook up the vacuum. You saw me not putting too much pressure on it. You saw the cookies. You saw me going with the grain of the wood. Those are key factors right there. Those are great tips. Hey, look, I want to keep doing these tool tip videos. So how about giving me some ideas for the next tip you'd like to see, and I'll give you what I've got. And also, let's come up with a name for this video. Or not this video, but these tool tips, like Freaky Friday tips. I don't know. Come up with something for me. Or Fast and Furious tips on Friday. I don't know. So whatever y'all think, let me know. This is Mike from Armor Woodworks, and always remember, Jesus loves you guys.